Hello guys, welcome back to Gospel News. The information still day here, and we are still focusing on the event playing out at Alaba International Market against the Igbos. You people are already aware of what is going on there, the demolition of Igbo properties at the international market level. Both new and old houses are being demolished, including plazas worth billions of naira or even dollars as I speak now. But a lot of people have been crying out on social media and complaining from left, right, and center. But the government has come out to make it take their stand on this particular issue. They say demolition. Gang of Lagos will continue pulling down on fee structures in Alaba market. Official. They say that your complaint and your lamentations are not going to hinder them or even stop them from doing what they are doing. So it will be effort in futility for anybody to think that crying out on social media or making any complaint to anybody is going to help reduce the destruction of Igbo properties in Alaba International Market. And these things started immediately. They said that Lagos is no man's land after the governorship election that took place in Lagos State. That exposed a lot of things. So the Yorubas have taken it upon themselves to show the Igbos pepper that Lagos is no man's land, as some people would say. So let us listen to this particular narrative from Arise TV on how they see the issue. But first of all, let's see this continuous demolition article here. They say traders at Nigeria's biggest electronic hub, Alaba International Market, are lamenting the ongoing demolition of some buildings in the market by the Lagos State government. On Sunday, traders in the market alleged that the Lagos State government did not give any prior notice before commencing the demolition. Footages circulated on social media showed traders weeping profusely over the building being pulled down by bulldozers while their wares were still inside the buildings. However, the general manager of the Lagos State Building Control Agency, last BCA, Bolahan Oki, revealed that 17 buildings at the Ojo local government area, where the market is situated, have been assessed and approved for demolition. The agency said prior to demolition, traders were duly informed to evict the buildings with their wares. These buildings marked with this Alaba International Market would have been included in the list of 349 distressed buildings earlier published in different national newspapers this year. But because the occupants were always harassing our officers, it was impossible to capture the details of the structures and include them in the publication, he said. So he said that is why they took them unawares, because the people were not giving these agencies opportunities to assess this house. What we have done now is a joint exercise carried out by Lagos State Task Force officers and the demolition gang of Lagos State Building Control Agency. The buildings will be demolished, he noted. He said, if you like, may your eyes make a fall down, may they match them, say that these buildings must go down. Mr. Uki noted that Alaba International Market, being the biggest electronic market in Nigeria, should follow proper guidelines in the construction and renovation of buildings in the market. Well, these buildings were approved by the government. They did not just come there and erect them. It is the government that gave the approval for those buildings to be erected there. Nobody can wake up one morning and go to a place and start building house. It's not possible. We know that this area is commercial center and is one of the biggest markets in Lagos State, but despite this, we cannot fold our arms and allow irregularities to continue to thrive in the market, where the lives of innocent persons will be put at risk because of the failure of a few set of individuals who have refused to do the needful, he said. The official asked Lagosians to always inform the government about distressed buildings and infrastructures noticed within their neighborhood by bringing such infractions to the attention of the relevant government agencies. He advised residents, especially property owners, to desist from patronizing tout and impostors in the process of building approvals in an attempt to subvert due process, which will eventually put their properties at risk. Recently, the agency in a publication listed 349 buildings assessed and approved for demolition across the states. Lagos has been faced with several building collapses over the years, causing major loss of lives in the state. Despite government warnings, contractors and house owners continue to violate the law to build and renovate houses with weakened structures. So this is what the Lagos State Government agency is saying, that they are destroying these buildings because they have not gotten the right approval to build at those designated point. All right. So let us hear what these guys are saying from Arise TV, their own perspective.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, lovers of freedom. Please, I want everyone to calm down and watch this video from beginning to the Yoruba land. Want to seize the properties of Ndibu. I don't want to say anything about that. When you watch this video, then after watching it, you will not know what we are saying. You will not know how to move. I would not like to take much of your time. I remember my humble self, MAP, Ezokubundo, 1 in Biafra land. Let's watch the video so that you will understand. I will not say anything because I love it. Thank you, I remember blessed.
Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. There have been mixed reactions trailing the proposed legislation by the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, which will make laws in the areas of property and the economy to protect indigents of the state. On Tuesday, Obasa was unanimously re-elected as Speaker of the House after the proclamation of the state's 10th Assembly by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, making the third consecutive time that Obasa will occupy the position. In his acceptance speech, the Speaker said Lagos is Yoruba land and that laws passed by the Assembly will now be translated to Yoruba language. He also stated that the Assembly will ensure that laws are made to protect the interests of indigenous people of Lagos and that lawmakers will reverse all that is reversible to protect the interests of the indigents.
Lagos is a Yoruba land, as against assertion of some people that it is no more land. Therefore, part of our legislative agenda is to ensure that the translation of laws passed by this House to Yoruba language. We also aim at achieving our collective goals of creating a robust legislative framework that protects the interests of our people. Going forward in this one, we are going to employ all legislative instruments for the support of the indigenes of Lagos State.
Well, the pronouncement has generated mixed reactions after the rhetoric, Lagos is no man's land, heightened tensions during the just concluded elections, with reports of intimidation and harassment of voters rife across the state. The Labour Party governorship candidate in Lagos State during the elections, Gbadebo Rose-Vival, in a circular posted on Twitter, described the proposal as an attempt to jeopardize economic development and individual empowerment of the state. His statement reads in part, "As a politician, deeply committed to upholding the principles of fairness, equity, and justice, I strongly condemn the comments of the Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly for considering a bill that seeks to reverse property rights in favor of indigents at the expense of the constitutional recognition of citizenship. This move not only undermines the fundamental rights of individuals, but also poses a significant threat to the principles of inclusivity and social cohesion that our great nation, Nigeria, stands for." He further stated that by considering this regressive bill, the Speaker disregards the spirit of the Nigerian Constitution and perpetrates a discriminatory system that divides our society along ethnic lines. Regrettable. This move threatens to erode our progress in promoting unity, national integration, and equal opportunities for all Nigerians. Furthermore, it is crucial to recognize that property rights are vital to economic development and individual empowerment. The proposed bill undermines the principle of private ownership and could severely affect investment, economic growth, and overall prosperity in Lagos State. He further stated that by considering such legislation, the Speaker is sending a damaging message to local and international investors, discouraging their participation and confidence in the state's economy. It was a robust statement he posted on Twitter, Dr. Abati. I know, I saw that you were shocked when you heard the Speaker actually make that comment. So Rufai, it's not AI. We have a lot of comments, but I want to take your comment first before I continue, because this has generated a lot of reactions on social media. It is, they have said, against our Nigerian constitution. I don't know how this law will pass. Anyway, if they
Road's Bible is right on all the points in that his statement. I read it. We still went on further and said, well, even while you are recognizing the rights of indigents, the thing is for government to stop stealing people's property, to stop becoming a threat to property rights, and that, this is very regressive. And I think that many Nigerians agree on this call. Now, what is the function of the legislature? Let's zero in on the House of Assembly. Section 4, sub 7 of the 1999 Constitution says that the legislature, at the level of the House of Assembly, the same principle with regard to the National Assembly, shall make laws for peace, order, and good governance of Nigeria. The statement made by Speaker Mudashiru Obasa, I don't see how that promotes peace. I don't see how it promotes order. I don't see how it promotes good governance. And this is the whole point of Gbadebo Rosevivor's statement, that the House of Assembly of Lagos cannot be saying that. Two, it's provocative, because you recall, as your narrative pointed out, that during the just concluded elections, ethnicity was such a big problem in Lagos State, resulting in conflict in parts of Lagos between indigenes and other persons of other ethnic extraction, to an extent that indigenes were even carrying rituals all over the place and threatening non-indigenes to leave Lagos. Now, you can't have that. You can't have that, in a society. Now, going further, why did Mudashiru Obasa consider it necessary to reopen that matter?
This is the point.
He had been chosen by his colleagues for a third term as Speaker. He should just thank them and talk like, somebody is interested in the national interest, in public interest, not to talk as a provincial person, dredging up antediluvian sentiments. Lagos belongs to Yorubas. Lagos is a no man's land. I thought that argument was part of the politics. You should not use the platform of the House of Assembly to play politics. That's not leadership. And this is what we say to public officials all the time. If you don't have something to say, something that will appeal to reasonable, right-thinking members of society, can you just shut up? Because vulnerability is not an asset in interacting with the public. And then the issues that he raised, those issues can in fact cause problem in Lagos State. I hope nobody goes ahead with that. Because the Constitution of Nigeria grants every Nigerian the right to own property.
Absolutely.
Section 43, movable and immovable in any part of Nigeria. The law is very specific. Section 44 says you can only affect those rights only as prescribed in this law. So you can't on your own just sit in the House of Assembly and say we are removing your property rights. Section 42 says you cannot be discriminated against in this country on the basis of your ethnicity, religion, or anything. Our law frowns at discrimination. The threat to reverse whatever is irreversible because you are not a Yoruba person or you are not from Lagos, that is discriminatory. Land Use Act, which vests Section 1 of which vests ownership of land in the governor as a trustee, did not say if the governor of Lagos State is going to give out land, he should do so only to people of Lagos State or to only Yorubas. That Section 1 is very clear. It says all Nigerians in any part of Nigeria. So I'm surprised because I understand that Mr. Obasa, is a lawyer, so maybe he's just playing to the gallery, but this kind of thing can cause conflict and cause disorder.
Absolutely.
And all those provisions that we have read out, they are enforceable in law. Yeah. So why does he want to start his third term on a controversial note and on something that shows undue partisanship?
Yes.
That House of Assembly in Lagos State is for everybody in Lagos State. It's not for people. Where is that place you come from? You are from Central Lagos, right? Lagos Island. Olowo. Yeah. It's not only for people from Olowo alone or people from Iga, Ibugoro, and all that. It's for all of us.
Absolutely.
From Central Lagos to Abule Egba and beyond. In fact, up to Alakuko.
Absolutely. Dr. Matias, you have quoted the Constitution. I was cracking up before I come to you. You're not the only one. People are even quoting the Constitution on Twitter. Let me take a tweet from Eric, who wrote, while the Lagos State House of Assembly, led by Obasa, has the power to make laws, such laws must be in line with the Constitution. The law will be declared unconstitutional before a court of competent jurisdiction as it violates relevant provisions of the Nigerian Constitution. Well, Sadiq wrote, they want to make tribal bigotry a law in Lagos. It will be against the Constitution and is another ploy to build a very tall fence between Yorubas and the people of any other tribe, instead of the Nigerian government to always preach and promote unity with intertribal marriages and more. They divide us more. I mean, this is what we are seeing here. I mean, I believe I even heard you earlier this morning, even praising the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with all of his speeches of unity and all of that. And we get to see this at this time of our polity. I mean, very unfortunate, really.
Yes.
Your comment.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bati, for ending on the note of where I'm from, because I'm proudly from Lagos State, from Lagos Island.
You're truly Goshen. You're not like some people.
You mean you are an indigene?
You are an indigene. Tell them.
But then let's begin to define an indigene, because when we look at Lagos State, it's such a cosmopolitan city, and we've had people who've settled. In fact, some people would still challenge my indigenous, my being an indigene, saying that if you trace back to centuries ago, we came from Sierra Leone and then we settled. So at the end of the day, I understand where people are a bit, to take offense with Lagos is no man's land, but then aside from the legal aspect, which Dr. Bati has just dealt excellently with, as always, is the fact that how do you begin to define who is an indigene? How do you begin to, for how many years? How do you begin to separate people? Maybe, my mom is from Edo State. So would you say that I'm half an indigene, so I don't have as much access? Then is it just for Lagosians or for people from the western part of Nigeria? Because if you look in the house, you would see that it's spread across different people who've come into Lagos to settle. And then very importantly, like people have said, is the fact that we are on the path to healing and restoration. What we saw or witnessed in Lagos during the March elections is what we should never see again, is what politicians should never play to again. What we should be looking at is how to bring people together. One of the things about Lagos State as a center of excellence is the fact that people from around the world can come here and thrive and excel, and they contribute to the prosperity of Lagos State. Yes, Lagos is a no man's land, but the excellence and who built Lagos is not just indigenes. The people who've come around from around different parts of Nigeria have come in and they've invested in Lagos State to make it what it is. We must be truthful about that.
All right. Rufai, I know you've made some comments on this, just really quickly so we can move on.
I want to tell a story.
Okay.
And with this story, I'd like to pay tribute to Chief Shubomi Balogun. That is, I think he's been buried around this weekend. In the thick of the Civil War, a certain young Igbo architect who happens to be the first PhD holder in architecture in Nigeria had a home close to Shubomi Balogun's home. And when the war started, the Igbos had to go back. And Shubomi Balogun saw that squatters were coming into the home of this architect. And he chased away the squatters and he renovated the home. And he put somebody in there and he was collecting rent from her and keeping it for the person. He could have taken over the property because at that point in time there was a war and the Igbos were being denigrated. But he kept the home. After the war, this architect, PhD holder in architecture, came back And he met Shubemi Balogun and he said, oh, that's your house. I kept the house for you. And while he was going, he said, please, wait. Then he went in and brought wads of money out and said, this was the rent I got. And he said, thank you. That
all right, guys, and I don't see where the problem started from. It was from the passing of this very bill. That's where this problem have started. And nobody knows when it is going to end. Thank you for watching. And